to roll up their sleeves. They say their hospitals are running out of beds as the Delta variant spreads rapidly.
I watched a 28-year-old previously healthy unvaccinated patient die from COVID complications. And while we value every life, that one was tough because it could have been prevented.
Doctors
said they were looking for new ways to make sure their employees were safe, especially since cases are on the rise.
It's actually one of the buildings they'll be doing research for COVID in.
Chris Hughes has worked in construction for more than 2 decades. His latest job, a new health sciences research.
Came across the DeKalb County Board of Health mobile vaccine site.
Rampton requested a unit be brought out to the work site. Just a few weeks after submitting the request, the staff and vaccines were there. 86 people decided to take advantage of it, including Hughes, who says he probably wouldn't have gotten the vaccine if it hadn't been for the mobile unit.
If I'm sick or in the hospital, I can't provide for my family and being able to make a living, and we didn't want the job to get shut down either.
While there may be other reasons like language barriers or distrust for vaccines, Rampton says he's glad he was able to help some members of his crew overcome at least one barrier, keeping them from getting the shot.
We've learned a lesson here that convenience is a major factor there. The men and women, building this building are working long hours, some of them 6-7 days a week, and so bringing the vaccine to them, I think, played a big part in, increasing the turnout. For sure.
The mobile unit will be back in a few weeks to give people their second doses. Now, if you want more information about the mobile vaccine unit, you can find that information on our website, Fox.
The new order went into effect as soon as Governor Brian Kemp signed it this afternoon. The move comes after several cities around the state, like Atlanta and Savannah, have reinstituted mask mandates because of the recent surge in COVID-19 cases. The governor said what he's seen in those 2 cities has concerned him, and this order is aimed at mask mandates, vaccine mandates, capacity limits, or any potential shutdowns of local businesses. Governor Kemp says he does not want local governments to force businesses to enforce those ordinances.
There are some across our state who want to go back into lockdown mode. They want to close businesses, enact new restrictions, and force businesses to upend their operations. The fact is that small businesses across our state should not be punished by local governments just because they're trying to make a living, pay their employees, and save their livelihoods.
Late today, a spokesperson for Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms issued a statement responding to that executive order, saying in part, a lack of leadership at the state level has resulted in Georgia ranking 48th nationally in fully vaccinated residents over the age of 12, subsequently ranking 7th in COVID-19 cases and 12th in deaths. Mayor Bottoms has followed the science and data from the onset of this pandemic. Masks save lives, and it is absurd we must continuously defend such a simple, straightforward fact. At the state capitol, Claire Sims, Fox 5 News.
July and August, which is really very unusual for this virus.
Dr. Camille Sabella says it's unclear why the respiratory virus is spreading earlier this year, but it is of concern since the Delta variant is also circulating. Symptoms of RSV typically include a runny nose, fever, cough, wheezing, and shortness of breath. In severe cases, a child may need to be hospitalized, often due to breathing problems. Dr. Sabella says RSV is highly contagious and spreads through person-to-person contact, so it's important children are routinely washing their hands.
Great concern for teachers and staff as the Delta variant spreads throughout the community.
A lot of them are more worried than they were last year because now we know how deadly it is.
The current mask optional, yet strongly encouraged policy and other COVID protocols were not on the agenda at the board meeting. But there was a 30-minute block of public comment, and parents didn't hold back.
You don't even put COVID on the agenda. You have embodied cowardice, weakness, dereliction of duty. If you disagree, the burden of proof is on you.
That same passion continued throughout the evening with those outside the building trying to convince the school board to pay attention to their demands and do what they believe is best for their children during this pandemic. No changes when it comes to masks, but parents will have an expanded online learning option starting in January. Spaces will be limited and spots will be awarded through a lottery system. In Cobb County, Denise Dillon, Fox 5 News.
Become a power mom and ditch the guilt. Engage your children in your work life. Take them on trips to the office. Explain what you do and why you may take trips. Talk about their most important events so you know which ones can't be skipped. And consider setting aside vacation days for one-on-one time, modeling the importance of work-life balance.
You're going to mother
Ray Roseberry to drive onto the sidewalk outside the Library of Congress, make bomb threats to officers, and profess a litany of anti-government grievances as part of a tirade that he live-streamed for a Facebook audience. Police say they did not find a bomb in the vehicle, but possible bomb-making materials were collected from it. They did not reveal any details about a motive, but on social media, Roseberry expressed hostility toward President Biden and profanely warned of a revolution.
Used against Afghans, journalists, and activists by the Taliban. The group has taken control of the country and is cracking down on dissidents.
We have a weak president now who has unleashed the Taliban on this country.
First reported by the Wall Street Journal and confirmed by Fox News last month, 24 State Department officials at the Kabul embassy warned Secretary of State Antony Blinken the Afghan government would rapidly collapse as U.S. troops withdrew.
There was nothing that we had seen that would indicate a total collapse of the government in 11 days. This is a very fluid situation, remains very fluid. Things certainly happen faster than we anticipated.
The U.S. now has 5,200 troops in the area to help evacuate thousands of Americans and allies.
There are no hostile interactions right now between American forces and the Taliban, and we want to keep it that way.
The military has the ability to fly out between 5,000 and 9,000 a day, but far fewer have actually been able to leave because of Taliban checkpoints.
Afghanistan is Taliban, Taliban is terrorist.
And violence outside the Kabul airport.
Living in here is very difficult for us.
Members of Congress are receiving virtual classified briefings on the situation, with more planned for after recess. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox 5 News Edge at 11.
He adds, I just wish we could have left with honor. Big strategic picture. They believe we had to get out. But I wonder how you respond to an Army Special Forces officer, Javier McKay. He did 7 tours. He was shot twice. He agrees with you. He says, we have to cut our losses in Afghanistan. But he adds, I just wish we could have left with honor. Who spent 6 months in Kosovo and a year in Iraq as a Navy captain and then major. I mean, as an Army major. And you know, I'm sure he had regrets coming out of Afghanistan. I mean, out of Iraq. He had regrets to how it's going. But the idea, what's the alternative? End quote. Now, we're waiting for that tape, but that's the transcript. Now, the president's son was in the Navy, not the Army. He was in the Army, not the Navy. It's not clear from that. We believe he was in the Army and not the Navy. He did not serve in Afghanistan. He served in Kosovo and Iraq. Joe Biden can't seem to remember those details. We're not attacking him. We're not telling you this with glee. We're telling you because it's true. This is the man